Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 10 a.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now, of course, the big news of really this week is this coming weekend's storm system. It looked initially earlier in the week that we could be talking about some snow potential. Unfortunately, for those of you who love snow, it's not looking like that is really that much of an option anymore. We will see a few snowflakes, but this is now turned into more of an ice event, a freezing rain event for eastern North Carolina. And that can be just as, if not possibly even more impactful, depending on your ice accumulations that you receive, than a snow event would. So just because we're not seeing the snow doesn't mean you don't need to prepare. It is still going to, again, be a rough mess out there on the roads. And again, we could see a few areas lose some power if we accumulate enough ice. Hopefully we don't, but that is certainly a danger we are going to be tracking as we make our way through the weekend. Now, everything really starts, at least from a winter weather perspective, coming up Saturday late afternoon to Saturday night. During that time period, that's going to be one of our best opportunities for seeing some snow. As the system initially rolls in Saturday night and as the system exits coming up early Monday morning. If you're hoping for snowflakes and seeing snow come down, those are your two best opportunities. In between that time period, though, we are going to have some sleet and freezing rain kind of foul things up, at least in terms of a snow perspective. Everything will switch over to a freezing rain late Saturday night as an area of low pressure tries to push its way into eastern North Carolina. That will create kind of a layer of warm air around that low pressure system, and it will allow ground temperatures to stay a little bit below freezing, but it will allow precipitation to fall as raindrops, creating that freezing rain potential. Now again, snow and sleet totals, I'm thinking less than 2 inches across eastern North Carolina. We're not really looking at much, if any, snow and sleet out of this system. It is ice that remains the biggest threat, and that is likely, again, going to be the case throughout eastern North Carolina. The immediate coast could certainly dodge that ice threat just due to your proximity to the water. The ocean tends to hang on to heat a lot more efficiently than the land does. So the more water you have around you, the warmer the air will be sitting right on top of that mass of water, and that will create, again, more difficult conditions for freezing rain to really get going. And that, of course, is good news for those of you along the Outer Banks. The last thing you want is to get frozen on the Outer Banks, not being able to travel, and, of course, potential power outages being an issue. So inland areas, you guys still need to pay attention to that. Right now, we've got air temperatures generally in the mid-50s. We've got winds coming out of the west at about 6 to 12 miles an hour. A few areas are a little bit outside of that range. But today is going to be a day marked more so by increasing cloud cover and a few stray raindrops. We're not anticipating a ton of rain today, but we are anticipating some. But today's rain doesn't really hold any sort of major importance for the weekend forecast. That weekend forecast is going to be determined by that area of low pressure you're seeing near southern Arizona and southern New Mexico, kind of right on that Arizona-New Mexico border. That is going to, again, be gathering up cold air coming down off the backside of the Rockies and plenty of moisture getting pulled in out of the Gulf. And there you see, again, the mess extending from Missouri all the way down towards really south of Dallas-Fort Worth. Dallas is going to, again, unfortunately, be experiencing a freezing rain event that will likely ice over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But let's talk about what we are going to see here in eastern North Carolina. And again, this is mostly going to be starting as we head into your Saturday afternoon to Saturday evening. This is Friday at around 11 p.m., possibly seeing maybe some sleet come down near the Albemarle Sound around the Alligator River, but I wouldn't really be staying up for this. This is Friday at 11 p.m. Let's fast forward it to Saturday morning at 7. Or this is actually Saturday at 7 p.m. Saturday evening, excuse me, that's Saturday morning. But there you see that rain-snow line pretty much draped right along our coastline. The Outer Banks not included, again, just due to the proximity of the warmer ocean. But inland areas will absolutely start to see, again, sleet, freezing rain, and potentially even a few snowflakes mixing in at this point. But watch what happens as we head through the evening. That area of low pressure, you can kind of see that counterclockwise swirl around Cape Fear and Wilmington. That low pressure system not only brings in moisture off of the ocean, it will also bring in a little bit of warmth, just enough to turn what would have been sleet and snowflakes into raindrops. But raindrops that will likely freeze on contact. Sunday morning, overnight lows down in the low to mid 20s. So we are going to be well below freezing by this point. So any raindrops that are coming down will likely be freezing on contact. Whether you're in the pink or the green zone, understand that air temperatures at ground level are going to be very important. And right now, models are having a tough time really gauging how cold those ground temperatures are going to be as this system rolls through. So that rain-snow line, it's more of a suggestion. It is not absolute. It is not complete fact. This, again, is a projection. But by the time we get to Sunday, more inland areas closer to I-95 still in that sleet, freezing rain zone. But by this point, most of us are going to be seeing air temperatures surpass 32 degrees and start to get into the mid to upper 30s. This will, for a few hours, a brief moment on your Sunday, create an opportunity for actual rain to come down and not freezing rain. The problem is, Sunday night, everything freezes again. Air temperatures falling right on back down to freezing by the time we get to, I would say, 5, maybe 6 p.m. at the latest on Sunday, because overnight lows down in the, again, low to mid 20s as we head into Monday. So by this point, any sort of precipitation coming down is going to be freezing on contact as it reaches the ground, even as we make our way into, again, your early Monday morning. Now, this is Monday at 9 a.m. The coast, by this point, will likely be seeing just raindrops roll through, but inland areas, any leftover drops, or, as you can see closer to the Virginia line, any sort of snow and sleet will, again, accumulate on the ground, at least at this point. But that is kind of the end of the system. Everything kind of just pulls out into the Atlantic after that, and then we're left with a sunny day on Tuesday. The more sunshine we see, the faster we're going to kind of clear all of the frozen mess out of eastern North Carolina. So that's kind of a breakdown of what we are looking at this point. As far as ice accumulations go, I'm anticipating most areas seeing anywhere between around 1/10 to maybe 3/10 of an inch. Things get very problematic when you accumulate more than 1/2 an inch or 5/10 of an inch of ice on the ground. Because it's not just on the ground, it's on tree branches, it's on power lines. Everything gets weighed down because of the weight of that ice. It can be incredibly heavy when you have, again, 1/2 an inch of ice stuck on everything. And that's where we see, again, widespread power outages becoming more of a possibility. Right now, I don't think we are in that danger zone at this point. However, if we see those Sunday air temperatures come down a little bit more, right now sitting at 38 degrees for your high on Sunday, if those come down to around 35, 34 degrees, then our icing accumulation anticipation is going to get higher. We're looking again at higher numbers by that point. So keep an eye on your Sunday air temperature. That is going to have a big impact on how much freezing rain we can accumulate through this entire event. Everything really starts to melt away on Tuesday. Yeah, we'll see a little bit of melt on Monday, especially for those areas that are going to experience a little bit more sunshine. We will have some cloud cover rolling on by. The cloudier we are, the more the ice is going to be sticking around, and it really sticks around Monday night into Tuesday morning as overnight lows drop down to 12 degrees. Straight up, 12 degrees. It's going to be a cold start to your Tuesday. There will still be some ice out there, but by the time we reach Wednesday, the sunshine, the warmer temperatures will help kind of clear the area of any leftover ice. Now, I do want to say good morning to Esmeralda from Chinquapin, along with Kelly Bird. Thank you guys so much for joining me over on Facebook. But now we also have some news stories we want to share with you. First one about Governor Stein issuing a winter storm preparedness, as yesterday the state did call for a state of emergency. Now, Governor Stein will hold a briefing this morning to talk about potential impacts of the storm and the state's preparedness. Stein declared a state of emergency yesterday, urging North Carolinians to get necessities before Friday evening and make a plan in case the power goes out. Again, we mentioned earlier that those power outages become more and more likely the more ice you accumulate. Again, that 1/2 inch of ice is kind of the danger zone. Now, DOT crews have been pre-treating roads with brine and ensuring response equipment is ready and will work around the clock throughout the weekend as needed. Now, conditions are expected to get dangerous in eastern North Carolina beginning Saturday afternoon. State officials warn residents that road conditions will remain hazardous for several days after the storm due to sub-freezing temperatures continuing into next week. Attorney General Jeff Jackson has also announced that the price gouging law is in effect in the state. The law prohibits charging excessive prices during crises and takes effect when the governor declares a state of emergency, like he did yesterday. Now, Stein will be joined by several state and emergency management officials during today's briefing. We hope to have that briefing for you right here on the First Alert desk as it goes live. Now, we also want to highlight a warming shelter that is going to be opening in Carteret County. It's again good news for those of you who are in need of a warm shelter. Again, with the weekend storm on the way, the Salvation Army in Carteret County is looking to get those in need out of the cold. They announced that it will be open as a warming shelter this weekend. It's located at 2800 Bridges Street, and the organization will open from Saturday to Monday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, that's all we have time for today's 10 a.m. news and weather update. Again, do want to give a shout out to Wendy Four along with Kate Kennedy. Thank you guys so much for joining me over on Facebook. We are going to be doing a full update. We are going to get the fresh model data by the time we get to around 2 p.m. So if you guys have any questions about what we are looking at that point, join me 2 p.m. right here on the First Alert desk. Bring your questions to Facebook. Obviously, we are also streaming live on our news app along with YouTube. So wherever you get us, again, we will have a full weather update with regards to the new model data coming in by the time we get to 2 p.m. today. But until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. We'll be back here with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, have again a fantastic day.